I don't think we spun yesterday. Or did we? Yeah. Good morning, Neil Shaman. We're talking about Neil Shaman. And we're going to be discussing a particular operation. Good morning, everybody. I'm sorry for the disconnect and the reconnect. YouTubians. The weather is very bad. I'm not sure that's what it was, but thanks for being flexible with us here, you guys. When you pop off and pop back on, you can pretty much guess if I've been spinning at your end for about 30 seconds. We know it on our end, and we have to bail out and start up again. Okay? And once again, I sincerely appreciate you guys being flexible and popping back in. Okay? We'll do, right after we read the first part of this article, we'll do a giveaway here. Okay? So we were talking about Neil Shaman. And we're talking about a guy named Chris Young in particular. And he has a past, just like many of us do. Young would later say in court that he'd grown tired of that lifestyle, and he appeared to admit that it was filled with drugs and promiscuity. Around that time, Young, a tempestuous man with a brown goatee and an egg-shaped head, that's kind of rude by the reporter, met his future wife, Verena, a wealthy German naturopath with blonde hair and a penetrating gaze. Things moved quickly between Young and Verena. Within a few months, he'd got a passport for the first time, and a couple took a trip to Verena's homeland, where she fell pregnant. They married in 2014. I was a stay-at-home dad, he told a civil court in Orange County, Florida, some years later. In Germany, it's very cold and very wet. The sun doesn't come out often. I didn't know the language, so I became very depressed. Young started searching for a way to throw off his black dog. That's when he first heard about ayahuasca, the storied psychedelic potion from the Amazon that contains DMT, and it conjures startling geometric visions and spiritual awakenings in the minds of its users. Despite effectively being illegal, it's estimated that 1.5 million Americans, or roughly half of 1% of the population, Americans, have consumed the brew. Some commentators speculate that every night of the year, an ayahuasca ceremony is taking place somewhere in the U.S. That's a lot. And celebrity adherents include Will Smith and NFL quarterback Aaron Rodgers, among others. The sludge brown and vomit-inducing ayahuasca has become notorious for one-shotting some of those who take it, spurring them to make sudden and drastic changes that throw their lives into chaos. Although scientific studies back up anecdotal reports that it can help combat stubborn mental health conditions, experiences with ayahuasca seem to vary with the wildness that is rare even for psychedelics. For a plant that generates so much uncertainty, there are two things we know for sure. In September 2014, Chris Young was about to take ayahuasca for the first time, and it was going to change his life forever. Young had booked himself into a retreat in Ibiza with a cultish organization named Ayahuasca International. Its leader, Alberto Varela, later died of brain cancer while under police guard in the hospital due to charges relating to unspecified sex crimes. The leader of the Ayahuasca International guy dies in jail awaiting charges for sex crimes. Nice lead. That's the guy. This guy did not want to be a shaman. He was very open about it. He just wanted to be rich, said an insider of Varela. Varela operated Ayahuasca International on, wait for it, a franchise model. He would train people very fast. Then they would get an exclusive territory. He would sell them the ayahuasca, and the commissions would be kicked back up the pyramid. So I'm going to be the one that gives you guys all the McDonald's cups and the syrup, and you have to use my packaging, and you have to... Oh, okay. All right. So that's how this thing's working. It was in Ibiza that Jung first realized there could be big money in ayahuasca. Yet something about the stay must have resonated at a deeper level. While Jung was on the White Isle, Verena suffered a second trimester miscarriage. Although he returned to Germany to be at his wife's side, Jung was soon back in Ibiza, imbibing ayahuasca with Ayahuasca International. The question he kept asking was why? Why did this happen? He wondered that aloud during one ceremony. In the throes of grief, he claimed he started having prophetic dreams. You need to go home and you need to build this beautiful retreat, Jung said he'd been told by a higher power. This is your duty. That's his birth story. It was a responsibility he carried out well. The organization that Jung formed went on to serve ayahuasca to good morning, Tim, more than 30,000 people. Overall, it facilitated more psychedelic trips than any non-religious entity in U.S. history. So Jung's killing the game. In 2015, it was time for Chris and his wife to return to Florida. Verena's family bought them a 4-bedroom suburban home 20 miles from the Orlando International Airport, and Jung followed the steer he said he'd been given in his dreams, partnering with a national spiritual group to establish an ayahuasca center named the Olvicada Native American Church Somaveda of Soul Quest. He appropriated the Indian angle into the name. There you go. We're just 1 year on from taking the first intense psychedelic. Jung was serving it to fellow Americans seeking relief and transcendence. He's an expert. Shortly after, Verena gave birth to a healthy baby boy. This felt like a good omen to Jung, who described the child as a gift given to him by ayahuasca. My God is the planet Earth, he told Vice in 2017. My Jesus and my Savior is ayahuasca. Okay. Yes, I agree with you, Kim. The moderators are doing a great job today. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate all the work you guys are doing. Is this interesting to you guys? Right, Billy D? This guy's like beyond an expert. This guy's like selling services now. Do you guys want me to go on with this? This is pretty interesting. It gets more interesting. Okay? While Jung has no Native American heritage, teaming up with an organization that presented itself as a branch of the Native American Church had its advantages. The official National Council has a legal exemption from the U.S. government to use peyote as a religious sacrament. It wasn't ayahuasca specifically, but the peyote offered the ayahuasca some semblance of coverage. The authorities aren't looking too deep into the religious groups that are it's either peyote today or a little ayahuasca. It's your religion, it's your group. We stay out of it. That's okay. But then to line yourself, okay. In 2016, the partnership hit the skids. All the CADA's members were derided by the official council as fake Indians who were only interested in getting high. The council of the real Indians are looking at these guys that are running this organization going, you guys are just a bunch of psychedelic heads. You're only interested in getting high and selling your opportunities through Chris Young. So they kicked him out. Young split, and he set up his own Soul Quest Ayahuasca Church of Mother Earth. He applied to the Drug Enforcement Agency for an official religious exemption to consume ayahuasca. These choices defined Young's life for the next 8 years as he blazed a trail of illegal psychedelic entrepreneurialism and flagrant cultural appropriation, openly advertising his services as an ayahuasca-serving shaman and raking in millions on a mind-bending quest to live his own American dream. That's the picture of the outside of the church, the Soul Quest in Orlando, Florida. In my interviews and conversations with more than 24 former Soul Quest staff, volunteers, and attendees, a nuanced picture of the retreat center emerges. It seems clear that it genuinely was a place of healing and community for countless people, including well over 1,000 military veterans with PTSD, many of whom turned up desperate and saw ayahuasca as a last chance saloon. People arrived suicidal, and they left in tears of joy, says musician Nathan Fallow, who worked as a facilitator for 3 years at the height of Soul Quest's popularity. I don't even have words for what we witnessed on those Sunday mornings. You had dozens of people every weekend literally having their lives saved. That's how it can really work. The problem, the psychedelics themselves work. We're hearing that. It's the people that are involved. In the process, however, he admits the staff began to turn a blind eye to some shady things. For many, Fallow acknowledged it was just better to put the focus on the positives. We don't just do that here. If there's negatives, we want to talk about them. What seemed to unite everyone who went to Soul Quest is an ambivalence towards Young, the church's patriarch, owner, and main financial beneficiary, who rarely drank ayahuasca himself, and he also didn't respond to any questions in relation to this article. Everyone looked up to him at first, but if you said anything out of line, the whole world would come down, says Sophie, a former Soul Quest insider who spoke on condition of anonymity. He got belligerent. He had a Machiavellian streak. That's Chris. In the early, that doesn't sound like somebody that's progressing over the 8-year path, but in the early years, Soul Quest ceremonies were fairly modest affairs. Up to 40 people would pay more than $500 each weekend, for a simple ayahuasca ritual presided over by Young and a supporting cast of other amateur neo-shamans. It took place on a patio by the back door of the property. Tapestries were hung and flute music played through a speaker. Why couldn't they just get a real flute player? As attendees puked into white buckets from the purgative effects of ayahuasca. Young would serve from a spoon as he wandered around banging a drum. Soul Quest was the only above-ground ayahuasca center in the U.S., and business was brisk. Young was cultivating his public persona, casting himself as a purveyor of tribal medicine, and weaving a humble origin story into his southern drawl, telling followers he'd been an emergency medical technician until Big Pharma's deadly opioid epidemic turned him against Western medicines. In reality, Young was never employed as an EMT. We'll pick up the rest of this tomorrow. There's more. It's going to get progressively darker. So, thank you for listening. We'll pick this up tomorrow. Neo-shamanism, be on the alert. I know we're picking on this guy, and I honestly, as I read the article, definitely there's a slant. The author certainly doesn't like Chris Young, okay? But I don't think I do either. I think I might have been a little more objective in my reporting, but, change some of these words that have immediate negative connotations and let the reader decide. But at the end of the day, wait till the rest of the article comes out when I read you the rest. Yeah, hip kitty, what a loser.
And you know what? He probably hates teddy bears, too.
You know he does. There's not a teddy bear in the whole church, right? Us here, we like stuffed Buckies. We like a stuffed Bucky now and then, okay? So, interesting, you guys? Are we ready to read the rest of that tomorrow together? Give me 5 people. Give me 5 people that want to hear the rest of that. We want to hear more about it. We want to hear more about that guy, that bad guy. No, what we want to do is we want to learn from examples. That's what we want to do. And we want to tell each other the truth about some of the stuff that goes on out there. And it should heighten all of our awarenesses. I agree with you, Kim. So real quick, I remember it's just a few years ago, somebody talking, and this is the funniest thing. They were like, I wish I could fly. I wish humans could fly. Ever since you're a little kid, you wish you could fly. Everyone, at some point in their life, have wished they could fly. Next thing you know, you're flying. Every one of us. I remember the singing nun. Do you remember when she would hold her habit on that had wings, and she'd go flying around all over the place? I love that she could fly. Okay? We've all kind of thought about wanting to fly at some type or another. The flying nun, is that what it was, Kitty? The flying nun, Sally Fields? Sally Fields, Herbie. I loved me some Sally Fields. The singing nun, no, the flying nun. Sister Bertrell. Stop it, Sarah. Do you really remember that? Okay, Sister Bertrell, it's totally ringing a bell. Yeah. Okay. Oh, what a blast from the past. So she could fly. The funny thing is we say, I agree, Mr. 420. The funny thing is we say we'd like to fly, but we can run, and do we? Give yourself a little perspective. We're all capable of running, but how many of us run? So just because you can fly doesn't mean you would. As a matter of fact, I have a feeling just because we can fly, very few of us would. I don't see that many people flapping by the door. Okay? I'm driving. I'm not flapping. Okay? Think about that. Birds learn how to fly, never knowing where their flight will take them. There is a deep and humbling. I'm in the Book of Awakening this morning. Okay? I'm going to read this for today. There is a deep and humbling lesson in the way of birds. I love birds. I used to have a minority interest in a store that we specialized in exotic birds. People could put in orders and we would broker the bird. We would find birds of what special type they wanted, etc. And I've always, not always, but over my lifetime, I've probably had 10 different birds. And the last 3 or 4 were hand tamed. They didn't live in cages. They lived in a little tree thing that I built in the corner of the house with the big tray underneath. And they just loved to live out in the open. I'd still have their wings clipped, unfortunately. But these little birds lived in my house. There is a deep and humbling lesson in the way of birds. Their wings grow and stretch and span patches of air. First tentatively, and then with more confidence. They lift, they pump, they glide, and they land. It seems for birds, it's the act of flying that is the goal. True, they migrate and seek out food, but when flying, there is a sense that being aloft is their true destination. Unlike birds, we confuse our time on Earth again and again with the obsessions of where are we going? Often to the point that we frustrate and stall our human ability to fly. We frequently tame and hush our need to love, to learn, to know the truth of spirit, until we can be assured that our efforts will take us somewhere. All these conditions and hesitations and yes buts and what ifs, they turn the human journey upside down, never letting the heart out, wing that it is, truly unfold. Yet without consideration or reservation, it is simply the presence of light that stirs birds to sing and lift. I love that. It is simply the presence of the sun coming up that's going to cause a bird to start singing and lifting. Did we start this morning singing? If you guys were here early this morning, we started this morning singing. Right now, what are we doing? We're lifting. Without consideration or reservation. It is simply the presence of light that stirs birds to sing and lift. They don't understand the concepts such as holding back or only investing in returns that seem certain. In this way, we are the only creatures that seek our guarantees. And in so doing, we actually destroy the spark of discovery. Because we need things to be more certain. We don't want what ifs. We don't want yes buts. How often do we cripple ourselves by not letting love with all its risks teach us how to fly? How many times do our hearts stall because we won't let the wingspan of our passion open us fully to our own gifts. How frequently do we search for a song of guidance that can only be heard from within? I know that over the years, through fear and expectation, third agreement, no expectation. It's so limiting. Through fear and expectation, my mind has gathered, and it's hoarded places I need to go, things I just needed to have, selves I needed to be. But here I am, without most of them. The goals and wants all used up in learning how to love. All the things that I once needed and had to have, here I am right now, I don't want any of them. All of those selves of me, my egos and stories, none of them, every one of them limited me from being as open as I possibly could to sing and lift. So try as I do to imagine and construct where I am headed. Try as I will to plan and know that this life of feeling means it is the pulse of what I feel that lifts me into spirit. In truth, listen, in truth, wings don't know. Excuse me. In truth, wings don't grow any differently to fit south or to fit east or to fit west. And our lives, no matter how we train ourselves, are more fundamental than any direction of worldly ambition. We, like the birds, are meant to fly and sing. That's it. That's all. Nothing more. And all our plans and all our schemes are twigs of nest that once outgrown, we leave. All our schemes, all our plans, that's those twigs, that's that nest that you can lift from. Great one this morning. Anytime we can talk about nature, I'm down with it. You guys having a good time out there? Let's do that quick giveaway, and then we'll get you guys out of here. Quick giveaway. Let's do the giveaway. Give me a number between 1 and 50. Give me a number between 1 and 50. What number's in the chute? I've got a number in the chute. You can put up to 3 of them on your line at one time. Kill the game, kill the game, kill the game. Justin LaFlower. Justin said 8, and sure enough, it's an 8. I knew a bunch of people were going to say 10 this morning. I would have, if I were you guys, I would have said 10. Okay, Justin LaFlower, send me your address, and we'll get you a pack of supplementary supplements mailed out to you, okay? I won't probably mail it today because of the rain and the weather, but it'll probably get out tomorrow. So I need an address from Justin LaFlower, and we'll get that sent to him, okay? Great reading today. Give me 5 people that liked today's reading, and then we can go. I just want confirmation from 5 of you that even if we don't have wings, physical wings, we can still fly, and we can certainly sing. Am I right? It's a great day, you guys. Have a good one. I will see you here tomorrow. Same mush time, same mush channel. Thank you for being here, everybody. Sanam and Niffy, good morning, Niffs. And Johnzuk and Nerdy, thank you. And Michael and Justin LaFlower and Derek Anderson and HB in Vegas, thank you. And Mushy, good morning. Billy D and Gypsy, love it when Gypsy's here. Rick Aussie Rick, Herbie Malwerby Kebab, thanks for everything you do for us, Herbs. Classic, thank you. Melody Dawn, Sam Posick, and Jay Hurst, thank you for saying it was a good reading. I liked it. Melissa G, Calico, Meow Kitty, Funnyverse, thank you. Cat Meowzilla, Vegas love you. Jolie, hello. John Zook and Jesus Christ in Australia. V Berry Artworks, thank you. You're taking flight. Mike Butterball, Joe D's, Justin LaFlower, Jolie, Michael in third, Sandman, love you, Billy D, Melody Dawn, Justin LaFlower, Jay Hurst, Mr. 420, coming up. Niffer Mama, Rick, and Michael, and Derek Anderson, Herbie Von Werby Kebab, and Jiro or Euro. Sue, if you can't sing, I like it. Donnie Fike, and Niffy, and Billy D, and Mike Butterball, and Jay Hurst, Calico, Marcus McCarty, there he is. Ishmael Brasa Villegas. Laura, have a divine day, and I'm sorry about your little baby. Joe Dees, a.k.a. Aaron, John Zook, Michael Shanti Patterson, Mushmouth, Michael in third, John Zook, Kimberly, have a great day, Fleeky, Nerdy and Herbie and Rosabel Lizardo, Rosario, Jesus Christ, and Melissa G. I like a chance to fake my Spanish accent. I have a little one. Hit Kitty the Wizzy Was. Jesus Christ, Justin and 5280, and Euro and Marcus, you're well too. Jesus Christ, Nippy and Jesus and AK. Not exactly. We're 8 different things over here, AK. Nippy, Bill D, Mike Ball, Roosevelt, Joe D's and 5280 and Herbs and Melissa G and Billy D and Melody Dawn and Nippy and Classic and Hips and Vegas and Pops is out of breath. Mr. 420 Nerd, Mike Ball, Cat, Zilla Marcus, Jesus Christ, Joe D's, 5280 all day, Hip Kitty, Pops, peace, love, 4 things. Be impeccable with your word. Number 2, don't take things personal. Number 3, whatever you do, don't have expectations. And do your best, even if it's your Spanish accent. Pronunciación de sus palabras es muy importante. Get out of here. I'll see you guys tomorrow.